most recently to allow him to take possession of the property of anyone who speaks out in opposition to the war in Iraq. I mean, the way the executive order is phrased, it allows that breadth of interpretation such that even my appearing on this program with you could, in principle, given that executive order, allow him to seize my property, all of my assets, unilaterally without, so far as I can see, any review by any court. Now, if anyone wants to understand the nature of despotism and tyranny, this is a perfect illustration.
Well, I think I actually read that order, and the order seems to be worded in a way that it would make people who are planning violent acts. But, you know, as we've seen through things like the Patriot Act and people that have been held as enemy combatants, like the definitions of what an enemy combatant is and what the defining characteristics of enemy combatism are, we can see that it's such a broad and sweeping definition that people get caught up in.
I could actually say that in my particular case, a judge accused me of conducting a reign of terror.
You're kidding me.
Yes, and that was because of my television programs and passing out flyers.
You're kidding me. That's a reign of terror?
Yes, and she put that in writing. It ended up in the Law Journal. It's on court papers.
Well, in the
DeAndrea, what an atrocity. I mean, this is supposed to be the United States. We were supposed to have something called the First Amendment.
Well, we'll say hi Hitler to Helen C. Sturm. That's the judge.
Stunning. That's absolutely stunning.
I have something similar. I was a member of a group called the No Police State Coalition that staged weekly free speech events in the park. And we were accused by the media and the NYPD intelligence of being members of one of New York's 5 deadliest groups. And there was a front page, a daily news article in the days before the beginning of the Republican National Convention. That would be August 26th, 2001. Where I was a member of, nobody in the group had ever been convicted of a violent offense, but yet we were, members of one of New York's 5 deadliest groups. Violent anarchists hell-bent on sparking violence at the upcoming Republican National Convention.
Myself as well. I've never been falsely charged or certainly convicted of any violent crime, yet I conducted a reign of terror.
As a matter of fact,
having a public access television program. How ridiculous is that?
A prominent member, as a matter of fact, a prominent member of that group, Mr. Joel Myers, who is now a producer here at MNN of a weekly television program, he actually went to jail for refusing to perpetrate acts of violence. He refused induction into the United States Army at the time of the Vietnam War. He refused to perpetrate violence and crimes against humanity. And he spent 2 years in a federal prison for it.
Wow.
How god-awful. I mean, where are we as a nation? The point you make about some of these executive orders, they have a plausible aspect to them because they write them in such a fashion that they appear to have a noble purpose, like being directed toward violent acts, as you suggest. But then when you read the words that come at the end, you find the all-encompassing phrases like providing material support.